Picture this, at 6 p.m., the temperature has just dropped below zero, and
the power goes out. It turns dark and quiet, and suddenly that warmth in your house starts turning cold really fast.
that's where Buster comes in. Hey, Provident Preppers, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Kylene, and today we are going to introduce you to Buster, our winter power outage survival kit designed especially to be an essential power outage prep for anybody who lives in an apartment or doesn't have much money and needs something to make sure that they're taken care of if the power goes out in the freezing cold of winter. But before we introduce you to Buster, we would like to thank Michelle from Big Valley Living for inviting us to participate in the 30 days of preparedness. Every day this month, you will have a video released by the great content creators that are participating in this. So we'd highly encourage you to check out that playlist and go and watch so that every day you can do just a little something so that you can get better prepared. But now, back to Buster.
We built this especially for our daughter who just got married. Her and her husband live in a little apartment. It's so cute, and it's just right for them. But because we love them and we're concerned about them, we wanted to build a kit to make sure that as winter comes on, that they have the ability to stay warm if there's a power outage.
So we're going to go through Buster here and show you exactly what we put in him. We designed it in a bucket so that it could be just tucked like in the bottom of their pantry or put away anywhere so that it's there and contained when they need it. And it just covers the very most basic. So in our climate, we live in Utah, and for winter power outage, cold is huge and it is deadly very quickly. So the first thing that we wanted to cover was shelter and warmth. The first thing we bought was a 2-man tent, because if you set this tent up in your living room and you sleep in it or you hang out in it, it creates a microenvironment that helps to capture your heat, and it keeps you so much warmer. We've got all kinds of videos on it. In fact, our daughter who got married, Kenny, she actually stayed in the little pup tent when we first learned about this. And in fact, I should tell you about this. So we decided to do this self-imposed power outage in January.
And it was cold.
It was so cold. But what we had done is I had put the kids all in blanket sleepers, and they were just little. And we had these really cheap, like $15 pup tents that we'd bought at Walmart. We put them in these sleeping bags in the bottom and tucked them in there and kissed them goodnight. And then we went to bed. Now, John and I went in our bedroom, and we had like 5 blankets on top of us. And so there were 2 tents. The 2 boys were in one tent and the 2 girls were in the other tent. These are tiny tents. Well, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I just knew my children were dead because it was so cold. I was totally freaked out. And I ran out into the family room where they were, and I unzipped the tent, and there was this whoosh of heat that hit me. And the kids, they were laying on top of their sleeping bags, like sweating because they were so warm in there, which taught us a great lesson. We learned so many great things. In fact, I'll leave a link to the video about the lessons that we learned, but creating a microenvironment is important. Now, this is a nice little tent for them, but if you don't have a tent, you could totally create something like, do you remember when you were a kid and you played building forts? Like, even if you slept underneath your kitchen table with blankets all around it, anything to create that microenvironment could help prevent you from freezing. They could set this up on top of their queen size bed because it's small and sleep in it if they still wanted that, but there's all kinds of options, but this gives them the basic. Now, one of the other things in here that we got that was really important.
Plastic and painter's tape. Now, some people say use duct tape. That makes a mess of walls.
Yeah.
The painter's tape is really easy. It goes on easily and comes off clean. So you'll want to do that. This just creates a layer of insulation. It creates a barrier between that cold window and your living environment.
There's 2 of these in here because in the small package, we wanted everything to fit in here, but we could only find 2 mil. 6 mil really would have been better. So we've got enough. They only have 2 windows in the apartment. They have one in their bedroom and they have one front window. So we got enough so that they could put 2 layers of this on each window and be able to kind of help with that insulation. Now, in our experiment that we did, I thought cardboard would be the answer. So I had cardboard, then I cut it and put it in the windows. But what we learned is that it made it so dark, and dark is really depressing. And so while cardboard may provide better insulation value,
it was good.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
it was
created
just
a
too
dark
dark.
environment that was probably not the best.
And we got the wide painter's tape so that if they live in an old apartment, right? It's not very new. So there might be a lot of air gaps. We don't want them to seal themselves in.
No.
Right? You need some airflow. But sometimes if you've got a cold breeze coming in because like your door's not nice and tight, you could put some of this over that to keep that draft or that air from coming in. So having a nice, decent roll is a really good thing. Oh, the Mylar blankets.
Now, these are not a replacement for good blankets. We lose heat in 5 different ways. This one helps with one of those, the heat that we radiate out. So this will reflect some of that back. Tell us more about these.
I'm not a fan of Mylar blankets. I'll just tell you that. I'm not a fan. But I do think they take up very little space and they have a lot of good things that you could use them for. So the next category is fuel. You need to have fuel because you need some kind of warmth. You need to be able to have light. You need to be able to charge your cell phone. And so this is what we came up with for this. Now this is a little folding stove.
Yep. This goes together really slick.
Now there are some of these. This is the Sterno brand.
Yeah.
And there are off brands of them. But let me tell you, the Sterno, for a couple dollars more, it's very sturdy and steady. But some of the other brands that we've tried, they're really flimsy. And if you're really using this, you want to make sure that you're not going to have any accidents. The fuel that we have is Safe Heat. Now, Safe Heat, these are 6-hour cans. The cheapest place to buy them is Sam's Club, but it's a chafing fuel. So they're safe to burn indoors. They're designed for that purpose. You always want to make sure that you have plenty of ventilation. If you're really closed up tight, you could use up the oxygen that's in there. And anytime you have a flame and not enough oxygen to burn it, you could produce carbon monoxide. So just make sure that you have enough
you have to create
air.
that balance. We don't want too much cold air coming in. But we have to have enough to take care of our oxygen needs, and especially if we're burning anything.
This just fits right in here. And you light it, which we remembered the matches. And so they could cook on here. It also just provides a little bit of heat. Their place is really small. And so this would provide just a little bit of heat to be able to warm it a little bit. And this is a very inexpensive solution. For lighting,
we love hybrid lights. That's our flashlight of choice. And these, they have multiple light settings on there. But one of the cool things is they also have the ability to charge by solar, and they also have the ability to charge phones and other things through these outputs.
I can't say enough good about them. They're very rugged. And this is probably one of the tent and this light are the most expensive, but I think this is also one of the most important because you need to have light. And you think, oh, I've got a light on my cell phone. Well, how long is that going to last? But these are just really good quality. Now in here, the cord's in this bag and the directions are in the bag because I want to make sure that they know how to use it when it's needed, because you're not going to be able to just look it up on the internet if you're having problems like that, right? So that's why it's in this bag like this. We've got shelter, we've got fuel, but now let's move on to food.
Food is important.
Food is important. Okay, quick, ready to eat stuff. We've got granola bars.
And oatmeal. Now, you may have a working water heater, especially if you have a gas or a propane water heater. You may have hot water and can just do these oatmeal packets with hot water from your tap, or you can warm it on the stove.
But you might not have anything.
That's right.
So you've got to be prepared for both hot cocoa.
Because hot cocoa solves all kinds of problems.
It solves everything, right? And then these are some different herbal teas. Okay, these aren't going to be good for 10 years, right? Not the way that they're packaged here. So we'll want to rotate through these every year or so and make sure that it's okay. We've got some soup in here.
And soup always tastes good on a cold day. So
each one, okay, did I tell you each one of these cans is 6 hours? So what we've done here is we've given them 24 hours of burn time. Most things should be solved within that time. If not, you've got a much bigger problem.
Yeah.
And we got to work through that. Back to the can. So these pop top, you don't need a can opener, and you could eat them cold, or it would be very easy to warm them up. Now, the last thing, and actually is probably one of the most important things that we have.
Water.
Water. A
Because
gallon
water
of water
is critically important. Now, hopefully you will still have water that you can get from your tap, but this is to make sure that you've got at least enough water to get you through a crisis.
And there's all kinds of different things, especially with an apartment. Your pipes could freeze. There's so many things we're not covering in this video, but we always want to make sure that we have water because it's so important. Now,
And because we love them, we're going to make sure they have other water stores as well, because we love them so much.
this is assuming that you are staying in your apartment and you've already got blankets in your apartment, you've got a hat, you've got gloves, you've got coats, you've got all of those kinds of things because we live in Utah. And so they definitely should have those in their apartment, and they should know how to dress appropriately for anything that happens, right? But this kit makes sure that they have the basics that they need to be able to survive. And a couple of the most important things, I think, are the flashlight and the tent. What are your thoughts, John?
Yeah, I think they're all important. You're right, that microenvironment and the ability to have light so you're not stumbling around getting hurt in the dark.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. But the food, unfortunately, I'm a fan of food, and it serves me well.
And you never know, like, when disaster strikes, when the power goes out, did you just go to the market, or, were you ready to go to the market? Like, this just makes sure that you have a little bit and the right kinds of food so that you can warm yourself from the inside out.
Yeah. There you have it. This is Buster. And by the way, it's named Buster because our daughter loves to name everything. Everything needs a name. And so she chose Buster for this, and maybe because it's going to bust the cold and make you warm and keep you safe.
One of the things that I love about this is that it's self-contained.
Yes.
You're not looking all over your apartment. What did I do with that flashlight? Where is this? Where is that? No, if the power's out, you know where you keep that bucket, and you can head on over, pull it out, and you have everything that you need to make sure that you're okay.
Now for the question of the day. What ideas do you have, or what did we miss in this bucket that we should have? Share your ideas with us. Let's talk about this and have some discussion. Drop those in the comments, and thanks for being part of the solution.